Hey characters, welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, and today I want to talk about the Ultimates. The Ultimates are probably the least known group represented by the factions in Marvel Smash Up, even though Captain Marvel is pretty popular, due in no small part to her MCU movie. The Ultimates are a new take on movement, which is a concept well represented in the game. They are my second favorite faction in the set, and a great place to start discussing the expansion. You'll notice that this is not King of the Hill or Action Awareness, and that's because I don't think that those formats work for Marvel Factions, which has less standout cards and puts the emphasis on the collective whole. I will briefly touch on Captain Marvel though. Normally, I don't like that Captain Marvel is subjectively better than Spectrum, but with a pure ability like self-movement, it's really hard to have a baseline like that, because anything different is going to be better or worse. But I do find it ironic that Captain Marvel is essentially Captain Amazing in both art and mechanic form, in that they have very similar abilities, and Captain Marvel just isn't played at her base. And while this may seem like the Ultimates have a lot of redundancy, what I like about the Ultimates is that they approximate, but do not deprecate. The Tornadoes may be the closest comparable, but the Ultimates can get power from movement. However, they lose access to the rival minion manipulation of the Tornadoes, as well as most of their specials, even though they do have Scramble, which is actually pretty flexible for moving your own character. The ultimate game plan is to come together, spreading out and using their movement to swarm, gaining benefits for doing so. Internally, they have the tools for achieving this. First to arrive is like Unexpected Party, playing a character on a base where you have none. Many of their characters can move themselves, but the underappreciated character here is America Chavez. With her and Blue Marvel having unbounded growth opportunities, you want to try to maximize them as much as possible. America Chavez is great as the swarm target for a card like Coordinated Attack. If you have America Chavez staged there, in addition to mass movement, you potentially get 6 extra power, 3 from Chavez and 3 from Coordinated Attack. In fact, determining how to move your characters is the most crucial detail for this faction. While Spectrum and Captain Marvel can move themselves, most movement comes from the actions themselves, and in this capacity, movement is terminal. The one exception is Lift and Carry, which can be used as a stall tactic, but I prefer to use it to move someone else and be more efficient. Because of this, the Ultimates can really use character modifiers that move minions, but those are pretty rare. For a card like Blue Marvel, a 2 that can become a 3 is nothing special, so he needs to move multiple times to derive his value. Unfortunately, the Ultimates themselves lack a mean to do this, but synergy can help there. Base modifiers that move minions become crucial because they are free movement, and the Ultimates want multiple movements per turn. Aid from allies can allow you to use one of those movements for card draw, even if you intend to move back. Using the America Chavez style play, a common play is to play Captain Marvel on her base, use power and speed to move to aid from allies, then have Captain Marvel move herself back. Chavez triggers twice, Captain Marvel triggers her ability for at least +1 power, hopefully more, and you get a card out of it. Because of Captain Marvel's talent and the flexibility to move from an action, she is a rare non-engine leader that I actually like to lead with. The reason I do this is because it creates pressure. She can move any turn as soon as it gets crowded, and it forces your opponents to never really know your true target. Yes, you can absolutely play her terminally, but aggro can be a good thing, especially if you are spreading out, forcing aggro on every base. She's another great candidate to have with aid with allies, especially if you have a base modifier that can instantly move her off. If there is one card that is seemingly out of place in this deck, it's Cosmic Knowledge. But I've talked in the past about Marvel's desire to add general purpose deck sifting. I am not a fan of deck sifting, but at least this is a pretty strong one, as it is stronger than Field Trip to make up for the quantity difference. If you lack multiple moves per turn, Blue Marvel will probably be the odd man out, because the actions are strong and you won't want to pass them up. Naturally, any movement pairing is going to be strong, to the point that it's not even worth mentioning, but I do want to call out the Explorers. The Ultimates have a base, Exospace, that is a contender for the most lopsided ability benefit in the game. 2 power for each character moved there. For the Ultimates, this can be double duty, as it is not only somewhere you move to terminally, but a place where you can move, then move again, and keep the power bonus. If you don't have movement, this will be a dead base for you. With the Explorer's base deck manipulation, you stand a very good chance of seeing this base, and if you can make it the Idaho Smith base, you have an extremely efficient solo point victory, and I've done this. But don't underestimate using it as a staging base. Using spectrums to move there for 2 power each, then moving again in a group, can be extremely powerful. Of course, the explorers grant additional benefits for moving, but you already knew that. So who likes the ultimates but isn't known for movement? Werewolves, because the ultimates are known for their talents. The Great Wolf Spirit naturally likes movement because it makes it easier to bring it out, but being able to move a spectrum twice means that you can move to and from aid from allies every turn, and with 3 characters who can do this, it can be a ton of cards. You could also trigger America Chavez twice the number of times. Leader of Pack loves movement, and the ultimates love extra actions. Because Captain Marvel is self-propelled movement, she is a great target for marking territory, allowing you to use her Chuchutoi, move your leader, and throw someone small on for a very efficient victory. And if they don't want this to happen, they're forced to play one of their own leaders. And then you can just use lift and carry to move them off. It's rare that I talk about zombies, but the ultimates not only possess the antidote to Zombie Lord's flaws, but they have a character in Blue Marvel who benefits from the correction. Especially in multiplayer, if you can play America Chavez on 1 turn, then play Zombie Lord for multiple Blue Marvels, and use coordinated attack, that could be +5 per Blue Marvel. And with the zombie action recursion, you can do this often, with little that someone can do to stop you, since you are clearing the board every time. All you need to do is lead with America Chavez, but even if they know where you are going, you still have the chance to beat them overwhelmingly. I also really like the shapeshifters with ultimates, because usually we talk about the 4s with Gelf, but America Chavez can be just as strategic a target. What I especially like is that leading with a Gelf tells you nothing. If you play there, I can grab a Spectrum and move elsewhere. If you don't play there, I can grab America Chavez and swarm there. I am literally telegraphing nothing because I am covered in both cases. Because I like to lead with Captain Marvel, I can do a Mimic Mitosis play to have Captain Marvel meet them there for an easy gain of 12 power or more. What's interesting about the ultimates is that they have both a great partner and a great counter in Polynesian Voyagers. The issue with Polynesian Voyagers is that they lack internal movement to avoid stranding themselves after they spread, which the ultimates can clearly fix. But the Moai really hurt the game plan of the ultimates because they are relying on movement and have no means to actually deal with the Moai themselves. As someone who loves movement in general, the ultimates can be plugged into almost any deck with success, and this is especially true of Marvel. There are some interesting little plays that you can do, like playing Strucker on America Chavez's base, using Strucker to kill a Hydra agent, playing 2 Blue Marvels, allowing Strucker to move them over for 8 power. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s instant ability to add characters quickly is really great for Captain Marvel, especially if you can get them all back. And as you play Marvel more, you'll notice more of these fun synergies. The Ultimates offer a new twist on the mechanic by offering movement targets and by mixing and matching with other mechanics to offer a fresh perspective on movement which could easily be beaten to death. Though they are mostly self-serving, they do have the threat of manipulation, which always keeps them interesting. What do you think of the Ultimates? Who will you be playing with them? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.